Right, so he did it. Because of course he fucking did. Sir Kid Starver suspending 7 MPs for wanting to end child for 2 child benefit cap. Only 7 of them. I thought there was going to be a lot more. And let's see what he's got to say now. 7 Labour MPs have had the whip suspended for 6 months. 6 months, nearly a whole year, after voting against the government on an amendment to scrap the 2 child benefit cap. Disgraceful. Ex-Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell was among the Labour MPs who voted for an SNP motion calling for an end to the policy which prevents almost all parents from claiming universal credit or child tax credit for more than 2 children. Losing the whip means that MPs are suspended from the parliamentary party and will now sit as independents. Yeah. Sir Kid Starver, he couldn't wait quick enough. He's been in government just for a couple of weeks now and he couldn't wait. MPs rejected the SNP motion because of course they did, by 363 votes to 103 in the first major test of a new Labour government authority. Yeah, and all the Tory MPs, they abstained apparently. John McDonnell backed the SNP motion alongside Richard Burgon, Ian Byrne, Rebecca Long Bailey, Imran Hussain, Afsana Begum, and Sara Sultana. The rebellion marks another moment of pressure from Labour politicians on the government to scrap the cap. Kim Johnson and Rosie Duffield were among 19 Labour MPs to sign another amendment calling for an end to the cap, which was ultimately not to put to a vote. So why didn't you vote for this one? 7 Labour MPs on this one, but 19 on the other. So why didn't 19 just vote on this one? Or what was the difference between this one and the other one? Not sure. No. Several prominent critics of the cap, including Ian Lavery and Nadia Whittome, who both signed rebel amendments, abstain on the vote. Why? Why did you abstain? Labour veteran and Mother of the House Diane Abbott did not take part in the vote due to personal reasons, but in a statement said she was horrified MPs had been suspended when removing the cap is supposed to be party policy. It's supposed to be moral policy as well. Scottish Labour leader Anna Sara and Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham have also backed calls for a change. Emma Llewellyn-Buck, Labour MP for South Shields, who put her name to a rebel amendment, said she did not vote against the government because none of the votes taking place tonight would have resulted in scrapping the cap. Really? So what was the rebel amendment about? What was the difference between that one and this one? Guess we'll never know. In a social media post, she said, "There will be an autumn budget soon, and I know myself and other colleagues will be working constructively with the government to make scrapping the cap a part of it." The decision to remove the whip is an early show of force from the new government. Yeah. This is their first rebellion. Even though it is a small one, Labour whips are trying to send a message to MPs that dissent will not be tolerated in votes. It's about morality and what's right. It's not about whips and shit. However, there are many more Labour MPs who are opposed to the 2-child benefit cap. Yeah. So why didn't you vote for it then? Scrap it, I mean. Many hope the party will make a decision in the coming months to scrap it. Well, you should have voted, shouldn't you? Why did you vote against the cap, vote for the cap, when you were against it? Doesn't make sense. Nearly all of the rebels were allies of the former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, but some of more allies of Corbyn voted against the amendment or abstained or whatever, who now sits as an independent MP and had put his name to the SNP motion. In a statement on social media, Ms Sultana said, I have been informed by the Chief Whip and the Labour Party leadership that the whip has been withdrawn from me for voting to scrap the two-child benefit cap, which would lift 333,000 children out of poverty. I will always stand up for the most vulnerable in our society, as you should. After the vote, Ms Begum said she voted against the two-child benefit cap, which has contributed to the rising and deepening levels of child poverty and food insecurity for many East End families. A government source said Labour's policy on the two-child benefit cap had been agreed going into the election, and the manifesto commitments made by Labour were clear. The government has said it is not prepared to make unfunded promises by abolishing the cap. What do you mean? What do you mean unfunded? You promise to do right for the children and for poor families. It's got fuck all to do with unfunding. You can fund it, you just don't want to. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer previously said there is no silver bullet to end child poverty, but acknowledged the passion of Labour MPs on the issue. Yeah, right. Yeah, you got no idea what passion is. Despite the rebellion, Sir Keir easily saw off the first major test of his government, passing the King's Speech. Separately, Labour defeated an attempt by the Conservatives to insert an amendment to the King's Speech promoting Tory policies on defence spending, illegal migration, and cutting inflation by 384 votes to 117. Okay? Opposition parties customarily tried to amend the King's Speech to include their priorities for the next Parliament, though we almost never succeeded. I don't think it was anything on the Palestine Amendment to end arms to Israel. Anyway, I'll probably say more about that later. Working Pension Secretary Liz Kendall said the government could not tackle the dire inheritance from the Conservatives overnight. However, she said Labour is determined to make a huge difference on tackling childhood hardship. Yeah, you should tackle childhood hardship by putting an end to the two-child benefit cap. Huh? The Institute for Fiscal Studies think tank has estimated that removing it would eventually cost the government £3.4 billion a year, roughly 3% of the total budget for working age benefits. Okay. On Monday, Miss Johnson, who has led Labour calls for the policy to be scrapped, said the government should set out a clear timetable for doing this. It's not a question of whether we can afford vital policies to alleviate child poverty, such as lifting the two-child benefit cap. It's a question of whether we can afford not to, she said. Of course you can afford. What are you going on about? This punitive policy needs to be consigned to the dustbin of history where it belongs. Says a yes, so why did you not vote for it? Sake. Ahead of the vote, SNP Westminster Stephen Flynn said removing the cap was a bare minimum required to tackle child poverty and to begin to deliver the change that people in Scotland had promised. Yep, and everywhere else. Yes, so that's a disgrace. So you sack the MPs for standing up for child poverty and that. Then you've got other MPs saying, yeah, we should get rid of it, but you're not going to vote against the child benefit cap. How does that make sense? You want to get rid of it, you don't vote against it. This doesn't make why. And what's this rebel amendment thing? This other amendment. What was that about? About what 19 Labour MPs were supporting. What was the difference between that one and this one? Anyway, So curse Kid Starver, as per usual. You didn't waste any time whatsoever to get rid of the MPs. And now I hope the rest of the SEG join them and just form an independent bloc. They should have done it years ago. So yeah. So there you go.